So, anyone who's new to the channel, welcome. Today I'm going to be breaking you guys through five of the most common objections you'll find in your sales calls, and we're going to be breaking them, chunking them down, showing you guys exactly how I'd handle them in under 15 minutes. For those of you who don't know who I am, my name's David Nyamto. Okay, I build, train, and manage six-figure sales teams for online business owners, and to do with the nature of what I do, as you can imagine, I deal with a lot of objections. Okay, a lot of objections are dealt with every day, and I've been able to sort of create this formula for all of my clients and for my current sales team that kind of navigates how we handle each one of these common objections that I'm sure you guys watching this video right now, whatever you sell, you will face here or inevitably. So there's two things to note, okay, in my objections masterclass. I mentioned this in the most previous video I posted, but objections can only be handled if your product plus pitch was adequate. Okay, sometimes objections are just people simply saying, I don't like, want, or see any value in your service, but in a nice way. Okay, so everything from your discovery to the way you frame your solution and the way you frame your price in your sales calls needs to be dialed in. You can't handle every single objection, okay? And number two, you can't handle every single objection, okay? Some people are just quite simply not meant to be a customer. They're not good candidates for your service. They're not good fits. And if anything, it's good for both parties that you don't work with each other. Okay, you won't be able to sell every person. Some people just aren't meant to be sold. But as long as you dial in the framing, as long as you dial in the framing, you weed out the people who aren't meant to be or aren't good fits for your service, and the people who are actually good fits for your service and who will actually benefit, you'll be able to handle every single one of their objection and get them over the line with this sort of framework. Okay, so when we're handling objections, the most important thing we want to dial in and we want to make sure we identify is that we need to understand what it is, and it can only be two things. It can either be fear, or it can either just be logistics. Someone is either scared and they don't want to do it, or they don't want to proceed with your service because of fear, or they don't want to, or they can't yet proceed with your service because of logistics, okay? It can be fear, it doesn't work. Okay, so we're just talking about fear for now. It can be fear, it doesn't work. If someone says they need to think about it, or they want to sleep on it, whatever, it's simply quite literally just fear. Okay, they're scared of the unknown. They don't know if what you're offering, what your service is going to help them or if it's right for them. And it's up to you to be a doctor and to actually diagnose them with exactly what they're unsure about, and then give them the remedy. Give them the answer or the truth of what they're scared about, and open their eyes to why they shouldn't be scared about this, okay? We need to be problem finders and problem solvers to actually help bridge that gap in the discovery, and also objection handling to highlight these fears and eradicate them. Okay, my favorite phrase is we need to be problem finders and problem solvers. I got that from Jeremy Lee Minor. Okay, if it's fear, more affirmation or more questions on your service need to be answered. Okay, more questions on what's provided, what problems you solve, etc. need to be provided. But that's why I go back to the first point. You need to frame it correctly in the beginning. When you're pitching your service, before you even get to the objections, it needs to be with the correct frame so that you don't have to deal with these issues. You don't have to deal with them not knowing if your service is actually for them, because all of their questions should have already been answered. And you should have already kind of asked for their objections before you pitch the service, which I'll go into in a later video, okay? If it's not logistics, however, work together and find the right solution. Okay, so it's very important that these objections that we're about to handle are a mix of both logistics and fit. Okay, cool. So objection number one, the infamous I need to speak to my partner. Okay, we're going to use for this one I need to speak to my wife, but the same works with I need to speak to my husband. Okay, this is kind of a logistics based objection, but also a fear one as well. Some people can just throw this up as a smokescreen because they fear They basically just don't want to say I'm scared. They just want to use an excuse or smokescreen. But with these questions and with this sort of format, you can actually figure out whether it's a fear-based objection or if it actually just is logistics, and if you can come and work a way around it on the call. Okay, so as with every objection, the first thing you want to do is acknowledge, affirm, and diffuse. The worst thing you can do is straight away go to battling someone's objection because their guard is just going to be all the way up and there's no getting that down. You want to acknowledge their fears, completely acknowledge why they want to speak to their wife, etc. I completely understand. This isn't a small amount of money. I'd do the same with my partner too, and I'd hope my partner does the same with me. And then you want to confirm the product. Okay, so after you've affirmed and acknowledged, you want to confirm the product. Overall, this is what you personally feel like you need, right? Like everything we've discussed, achieve an XYZ goal, solve an XYZ issue. Do you think this is going to help? And this is kind of like, as we've agreed, this is what's going to actually help us bridge that gap, right? And hopefully they should say yes if you've done your job correctly, if you framed everything, and if they are actually confident if it's just logistics. You want to ask them on a scale of 1 to 10 how much, okay? And this is really telling, because if they say anything lower than a sort of 7, then they're not really bought in. Okay, this is probably a lie. Like if they said yes to this, then this is probably a lie. So you want to kind of call them up on it. You want to be like, oh, okay, you said you'd be more than happy to go ahead with it, and this is what you personally feel like you need, but your rating is a 6, 7 out of 10. Okay, and I'm not sure about you. You might just be a very harsh marker. However, if there's something that, if I categorize something as I feel like I need, this is going to help me achieve XYZ goal, it's a lot higher than a 7. Okay, so let me know, what is it that's actually making a 7 compared to a 10? Because at the end of the day, we want to be a 10, and I'm sure you want a product that's a 10. Okay, and 9 times out of 10 right there, they're going to tell you the actual objection of what it is they're unsure about, and they're also going to tell you what it is you can emphasize on in your product if you offer it, of how you can make it to a 10. Okay, but 9 times out of 10, if they give you a low rating there, the confidence isn't really there, so more affirmation is needed. You need to ask them what is going to actually make it a 10, and then kind of frame it in a sense, well, oh no, I completely understand that. Okay, you can also get a different answer to this. Someone can give you an 8 or a 9, which is a great score out of 10, and then you can just ask them, oh, okay, so you tell me, bro, what would actually make this a 10? Okay, and sometimes when you ask this to people, they'll literally tell you, oh, to be honest, now that I think about it, nothing would make it a 10. Oh, okay, bro. So if nothing makes it a 10, like if it's an 8 out of 10 right now, and you can't think exactly what would make it a 10, it probably is a 10, right? Like it probably is going to help you achieve these goals, and there's nothing really actually stopping us from classing it as a 10. Okay, kind of reaffirming that point in their head, because if there's no reason for it not to be a 10, then it's a 10, right? Okay, and after you've qualified this, so you can get 2 answers, you can get a low answer, you just need to always find out what would make it a 10 if it's not a 10 already, and if there's nothing that'd actually make it a 10, you can kind of just assure them, oh, okay, so it probably is definitely what you need, enough to be a 10. And then you want to ask them, you want to get them to say yes or no to this. You want to get them to say yes. So if it was up to you right now, say if everything was up to you, your wife wasn't in the picture, we'd be just putting things in motion and getting you started, right? We're anchoring them. Okay, so if they say yes, if they say this is up to you, if you say this is up to them and they say yes, they're expressly admitting, listen, my wife out in the picture, I want to do this straight away. So we've already got 3 confluences. Okay, we've already got them to say yes, rate it, however much they rated it, and then got the confluence on, how we can actually make it a 10, and then emphasize that. And then we've also got them to expressly admit that, if it was just up to them, we'd be putting it in paper and getting it in motion. Okay, so we've anchored them 3 times. I think people call it tie downs. Okay, I'm not really up to date with this new closing lingo. But if they say anything other than a yes to this, that's the actual objection again. So you can find out a lot of their objections or what it is that's actually holding them back. Sometimes it isn't a logistic, or it isn't the wife, it's just fear. You can find out a lot about that when you ask these questions. When you ask them what the actual objection is, when you ask them, how much it is on a scale of 1 to 10, if it was up to them, you can ask them, you can figure out what it actually is, and then you can handle it right there. Okay, and then you can finally end it off of, okay, and you sound like you're super confident in the service. What if she says no? What would you do then? If they say, yes, they'd carry on doing it, then nothing changes, right? Like at the end of the day, no matter what, if she says yes or if she says no, you're still gonna do it. So how can we work together? You're on their side. How can we work together to get this over the line now and not waste as much time as possible? Okay. If they say it's a no, then they probably aren't as confident, or you can still climb, or you can just tie into, oh, okay. I mean, you rated it a 10. You said this is really gonna, get you to X, Y, Z, and you said if it was up to you, you'd be getting started. So you wouldn't take action on something that you know was going to help you because your partner said no, and then kind of get them to realize that, oh, okay, I probably would say yes, and that I probably should just stop wasting time. Okay. So if it's a yes, figure out how you can work to get it over the line as you're on their side. If it's a no, more affirmation is needed. You can tie into all of these confluences, all of these things that you've just made it logically unreasonable for them to say no because they've just expressly said why it's going to help them, and then you can just handle the objection from there and always leave the call with something like a deposit. Okay, I need to think about it. Okay, for good old I need to think about it. First things first, acknowledge, affirm, and diffuse. Okay, then you want to book a follow-up call to lower their guard. And after the follow-up call is booked, you want to frame it as, just so I can, be prepared for our call tomorrow, what it is it that they actually want to go and think about. Okay, now their guard is all the way down. You've peppered the jab, their guard is down. You can loop over with the overhand and handle the objection because they're going to tell you expressly what it is that is not making them 100% sure. Okay. You can ask them where they are on a scale of 1 to 10, what's going to change between now and tomorrow. If nothing's going to change between now and tomorrow, then why do they need to think about it? We're just wasting time, aren't we? Speed is, the biggest characteristic in successful people is speed, okay? So you really just want to play onto, all right, cool, what is it they need to think about? Handle that, and then also play into the speed element of it. Lower their guard after the follow-up call is booked. Figure out exactly what it is they need to think about and go from there. Okay, it's too expensive. And this is a 2-in-1 objection because there's two different types of too expensive. First, there's affordability and then there's comfort. We'll go into affordability first. Okay. Affirm if they can see themselves moving forward with the service and getting started. It's simply just about the affordability. It's just simply about making it work. Okay. And then if that's the case, if they say yes, it's just the barrier to entry, you need to lower that. Have an open and honest conversation and see what potential structures are available to suit the both of you. Always emphasize you're on their side and really want to make it work. Okay, so whether you're splitting payments, okay, whether you're seeing how much cash they've got in hand, how much has come in, and what you can sort of do to at least get them in through the door now and make sure that they achieve X result. Okay. Affordability is really good because there's always options that you can make with them, or if they really are interested, you can just wait until the money is right. Okay, but you can always just figure out exactly how much money they have in hand right now, how much money they have access to, and then figure out the best sort of plan of action from there. And then we go into comfort. Okay, so if someone is uncomfortable, first of all, it probably means that they don't see the ROI in the investment. So you need to emphasize the ROI and you need to affirm the value. You need to get them to expressly say if they can or if they can't see themselves getting the value or getting a good return of the service and getting what they need. If they can, then you just need to ask them how much do they value solving this problem. Okay, I always love to use the the answer of a genie. If they can see the value that they're going to get out of this, they're just uncomfortable, which is completely normal. Especially every time I've had to make a big decision. It's not always the most comfortable thing, but I'm sure you can look back to uncomfortable decisions you've made and you can be proud. I always love to use the analogy. If someone came to you with 10K and asked for 5K, you'd probably give them the 5K, right? So, you can see the ROI. It's just, a bit uncomfortable to give up this money first, but, we've guaranteed that we can see XYZ result. Let's go. Okay, you can also use a race car analogy. If you want to run a race, you want to give yourself the best possibility. Same in business, you want to give yourself the best options rather than going for a substandard service. Okay, and then finally, the I want to go look around objection. Okay, first things first, as always, acknowledge, affirm, and diffuse. Okay, I'm going to make that a saying. And then you want to get a follow-up call booked. Okay, you want to use the follow-up method, get their guard down. Follow-up method, I just described it earlier. You want to, pretend like you're booking a follow-up call, get their guard down, and then handle the objection after their guard is lowered. And then you want to ask them how they feel about the product. Okay, clarify you know what I mean, how they feel about the product. Maybe ask them what they rate it on a scale of 1 to 10, and if they feel like they can see themselves achieving the goals. And then you want to ask them, oh, okay, so you like this product. What is it that you're looking with these other products that you haven't necessarily seen here? Okay, and if there's anything that they actually mention, you can handle that objection, and you can add that to your service and give them more confidence. However, if there's not, you can just tell them, oh, okay, so you're just wasting time at the end of the day. Okay, in a more friendly manner, but you can just be like, oh, okay, so if there's nothing you actually want to go and look at, then aren't we just wasting time? You've clearly, expressed that this is something you can see yourself hitting your goals with. Wouldn't it probably be the smartest idea just for us to go ahead and take his action as soon as possible? As you've mentioned, this product is, or this issue or this goal is very important to you. Speed is the key to success, right? If you were to go and look at other products, isn't that just going to add more fuel to the fire? Okay, so yeah, just playing into things like, oh, okay, so there's nothing at all you're looking for, and you're confident in what we can do. Is just delay that's stopping us. What if you go away and browse and they all look the same? We've just added even more complexity. Okay, you're a logical businessman or businesswoman, and time is money, right? So why are we wasting time? We've acknowledged that you think you can get X result with us. Why don't we just push forward, actually get you this result, rather than wasting an extra 2 to 3 weeks of you not achieving this goal because you wanted to go add more complexity or add more fuel to the fire? Hope you guys found that useful. I tried to handle those objections for you as quick as possible. I've got tons of trainings on actually handling objections, so you guys can go through that. Catch you guys in the next one, and I hope you guys enjoy it.